Alrighty, hey guys, Stan the Man here. In today's video, we're going to be doing top 10 times wrestlers were selfish. Now, I'm not saying all these guys are, but I'm going to like certain instances, a certain time, and stuff like that. As always, they're in no particular order. So, without any further ado, let's get started. At number 10, we have John Cena burying the Nexus in 2010. Nexus, big 8-man group. They destroyed everybody, destroyed everything. You see, they targeted John Cena here. They even won tag titles. So you could tell the company was really trying to push them. You even see them here surrounding Mr. McMahon and end up attacking him. So we make it to the big match where it's a SummerSlam elimination match. Team WWE against Team Nexus. Look at frickin' everybody's getting destroyed. Heath Slater in the sharpshooter. Spear to Skip Sheffield. Daniel Bryan submitting Darren Young within the first minute or two. This was just their one big test, and it didn't get to happen because John Cena was so against going against having them beat him. I know it's not only him, it's writing and creative and Vince and all that, but it just sucks. And out of these 8 guys, the only guy that kind of did okay was Wade Barrett. You know, he had a few Intercontinental Championship runs, won the King of the Ring and stuff like that, but overall, it just never was able to get going because John Cena, man. Up next, we have Hulk Hogan stealing Bret Hitman Hart's spotlight at WrestleMania 9. Now, you know, he was defending the WWF title against Yokozuna at WrestleMania 9. You know, Bret Hart, they've been rivaling a while. They even ended up going against each other next year. But, you know, in the end, you see here, Mr. Fuji ends up throwing the salt in Bret's face, and it cost him the match. And, you know, Yokozuna's celebrating here. Hulk Hogan comes out to, you know, comfort Bret, help him. Of course, Yoko has to challenge him. Hogan beats him within a minute and just steals the title. You know, I understand he was going to WCW and Vince maybe thought money-wise it would be smart to give him another title run, but it was just bullshit. You know, Hogan went to WCW after, talked a bunch of shit about WWE, and it just sucked for Bret Hart. Feel bad for him. At number 8, we have Triple H refusing to put over CM Punk. Now, it pretty much started Kevin Nash and Triple H. It looked like they were a team to CM Punk. Turns out Kevin Nash was lying to Triple H and all that, but it got Triple H and Punk pissed because Punk thought he was sabotaging him. We make it to Night of Champions where they have a no DQ match. First of all, very incredible match. Honestly, one of the most physical matches in the PG era, to be honest with you. But in the end, Kevin Nash ends up jackknife powerbombing Triple H to prove to Punk that he wasn't part of it, which makes it even more ridiculous that Triple H wouldn't let him win. It's just, I don't know. Triple H, that was in 2011. CM Punk was really starting to be the guy there. And it was just bullshit that he didn't let Punk go over, but that's how that went, apparently. Up next, we have the Montreal Screwjob, which, you know, pretty much Vince screwed Bret because Bret wasn't going to lose the title to Shawn Michaels because he was going to the other company. So Vince obviously didn't want it to go to his other company. So, you know, we get it to the spot where he's in the sharpshooter, rings the bell, Bret Hart's really pissed, spits in Vince's face, all shit like that. But, you know, look at this. You see Alundra Blaze, she went to WCW with a WWF title, threw it in the garbage on live TV. So I understand why Vince didn't want that to happen again. It would just make his company look really bad. And look at all these guys from the NWO. Hogan, Nash, Scott Hall. He was already losing a lot of big guys. And if Bret went and did that with the championship, it would make them look even worse. Up next, we have Bobby Lashley leaving the company for not getting enough money for one match. Now look at here, 2007, he's with Cena, the top guy. Bobby Lashley was pushed so much in 2007. You see him having the torture rack on Orton here, face-off with Batista. This guy was in the main feuds. We make it to WrestleMania 2007. Trump, Vince, they each pick a guy. Battle of the Millionaires. Loser gets their head shaved. It's an amazing match. They did a lot of storytelling. It was the most bought or viewed pay-per-view or something like that for like 8 years or something. And Bobby Lashley got paid $250,000 for that match. Now, first of all, dude, 2007, that's way more worth than it is now. And that's just for one damn match. So, I don't know, it kind of stinks that. I feel like that was kind of wrong. But, I mean, I kind of get it sometimes. But, you know, I feel like that's a lot of money for one match. But, you know, thankfully, Bobby Lashley returned in 2018. Had a U.S. title reign. Won the WWE Championship. He definitely made it up. And he ended up having a decent career after all. At number 5, we have CM Punk telling Vince McMahon, if you don't think I'm worthy of the main event, fire me. Now, it was said that Rock and Cena were going to be in the main event an entire year before. Punk was pissed off about that. You know, I understand that a part-timer comes in, takes the main match. But also, you know, he was having a lot of trouble being beaten up with irresponsible guys like Ryback throwing him on concrete. A bunch of creative stuff with Vince. And then even one of his last matches, the Royal Rumble, they took him out, had Kane, put him through a table. And then also, you know, there is this lawsuit against a doctor that misdiagnosed Punk with something. But that's kind of all besides the point. At that WrestleMania, CM Punk wanted to be in the main event. He was going against The Undertaker. Like, that just seems selfish to me. Like, that's not main enough, big enough match for you. Like, I think that's just as big of a match. But, you know, luckily Punk has come back. He's level-headed. Everything's good now. And he's just, you could tell he's enjoying his time in WWE now. Up next, we have the Ultimate Warrior. You know, Hulk Hogan was the biggest guy back then. Ultimate Warrior was very big too. But he wanted to be pushed and make just as much money as him before he even got up and got that much experience as Hulk Hogan. Which, you know, that led to a lot of controversy with Vince McMahon. Warrior was ultimately fired 2 times, but he ends up being the WWE champion for a little while. But that was kind of just a last thing resort. And we make it to the 1994 where there's the big-ass steroid scandal and all that. And that was pretty much the last straw because he failed another test and they were under so much investigation that Warrior was ultimately fired and didn't return all the way until 2014. At number 3, we have Ronda Rousey. She pretty much just bitches about everything about wrestling. Buried it, literally told people it was fake and all that, didn't even try and defend it. It just seemed about money, and she just didn't understand the company. She was getting pissed that they were investing in guys like Logan Paul, giving them a lot of training, but he's talented. I say it all the time, UFC fighters don't belong in WWE. WWE wrestlers don't belong in UFC. It's a total different world. It's a total different misunderstanding of everything. And she just still buries wrestling to this day, and that just really bothers me a lot. Up next, we have the big guy, Ryback. Now, this is more of him just being delusional. He says that all the wrestlers should be paid the same, so no offense, but you think Carmelo Hayes should be paid as much as a guy like John Cena, who's been there 20 years? Like, it just doesn't make any sense. Like, and Ryback had pretty big push. He feuded with Punk for the WWE title. He held the IC title, did a little thing with Curtis Axel, Rybaxel. But, you know, I think backstage politics really just caught up to Ryback a lot as well. Just a lot of frustrations with the company and that. Even when he won the IC title, he's like, oh, you guys are kind of just randomly putting it on me. Like, that's just unappreciative and just self-centered, I think. And at number 1, we pretty much just have Jeff Hardy for all the times he's been suspended and fired for drug and alcohol abuse. You know, you see this Money in the Bank in 2008. Jeff Hardy was supposed to win it. You know, how different would that have been if he won it? But, Jeff Hardy's just gotten so many DWIs and gone to jail so many times. Unfortunately, that part of his career caught up to him. He had so much potential. I mean, in 2008, he held both titles, but they were for a month or less, just because, a guy like that is just a liability. I hope Jeff Hardy does good, but unfortunately, it just always catches up to him. I wish he could get over his demons and stuff like that. I understand it's tough, but there was just so much potential he had, and unfortunately, he just couldn't reach it because all of that personal stuff.